Hi, my name is Halil and I am a buyer for Pulse TV, and I wanted to go over one of my favorite items on our website right now, which is the Rapid Ramen Cooker. It's one of my favorite items that we're selling because this is something I've actually had for a couple years now. When I paid $10, $15 for it a long time ago, but we have it way cheaper on the website right now. But it's one of my favorite items because it turns one of my favorite foods into something I can make easily at home, which is ramen. This is something I picked up at the dollar store, a package of 5 or 6 of them for $1.25, and I make this maybe once every 2 weeks or some variation of some homemade ramen. So instead of just putting the packet in there with the seasonings as it comes from the store, I like to do a couple extra things I want to share with you. So let's get started. So today I'm going to talk about the 3 main parts of making ramen, the way I do it at least. So it's going to start off with a fortified broth. So I'm going to use that seasoning packet it comes with, but add a couple extra things, such as some mushrooms, some green onion that I grew in my garden, some ginger, and some garlic. And also miso paste. This is probably the thing you might not have in your fridge right now, but it is amazing stuff. You can do so many things with it, so you might as well just have it. So I will chop everything up and get started on the broth. Now the goal is to just use one pot for pretty much this entire process, plus the Rapid Ramen Cooker. So I'm going to start with a little bit of olive oil. This is just to get the mushrooms started. And they're going to cook for a little bit. So I have washed these mushrooms. Now I've read that you don't have to wash them, but I really don't like the feeling and the idea of dirt in my food. So I do wash them before using them. And then I salt and pepper them. Not too much salt, but just a little bit to kind of get the cooking process started a little bit more. All right, now that the mushrooms are getting started cooking, you can really see that they're releasing a lot of their moisture. I'm going to add some of these green onions and adding the ginger now. Give it a stir so that that's all touching the very hot bottom. I grated it a long time ago, but again, ginger is so incredibly delicious. It is cheap and it stores for a really long time in the freezer, and it's just going to be great for that broth. Now it's been cooking for a little bit. Now I'm going to add this miso paste. Now, if you've never had it before, it is very salty, but very savory at the same time. So you want to be careful. A little bit goes a long way, but you do not need to salt your food too much more after this because there's so much in there. I'm going to add the garlic into the pot. I'm not so concerned that it gets browned. Normally I love the roasted garlic flavor, but when you're cooking it in a broth, you kind of lose that anyway. It all mellows out in the water. So I'll let it go for just a little bit. But I don't know if you can tell, but you can see that all that good flavor is starting to stick to the bottom of the pan. That's good. That means it's going to be more fond. And once we add the water, you can kind of scrape all that up and it'll be good again. Now, I'm using the chicken flavored ramen, but of course you could use anything you want, so I'm going to use the packet from that. And just put that in now. This is going to be the majority of the intense chicken flavor that I'm going for. Now I'm adding about 2 cups of water, which is more than enough for a bowl of ramen. And now you're going to want to get in there and just scrape the bottom. Release all that fond that's going to flavor the broth more. And that's really it. It's more than just water and the seasoning packet. It's fortified with so many other flavors. The mushrooms are going to add some more texture and something good. So I'm going to let this cook, and the longer it cooks, the more the flavors are going to get to know each other better and be more delicious. So I'll put the top down and let's get started on some of our toppings. Okay, now we're going to move on to our toppings. Sky is the limit. You can pretty much put whatever you want in ramen, in my opinion. But eggs are one of the most iconic images when you see ramen. This is a soft-boiled egg, hopefully. Sometimes it's tough to get the right temperature, but you could do hard-boiled if you don't like a runny yolk. But I made a couple of these at the beginning of the week, so it's just one of those nice and easy things you can always have. Pop it out of the fridge and throw it in your ramen soup. These are the tops of spring onions as I've been using them. I'm just going to dice these up really small. Okay, this is going to be perfect for the very top of the ramen. Now, these are baby carrots. I always have a bag of baby carrots in my house because they are pretty much all ready to go. I like to put them into little matchsticks, but you can cut these however you want. These are nice and easy to grab with chopsticks, so that's kind of why I do it like that. I've also taken them and used them on a grater, so you have like a little mound of grated carrot, which is very tasty and just an interesting way of presentation. This is seaweed paper, Nori. You probably use this kind of stuff when you're making sushi. This is what it looks like at the store. Also another thing, relatively easy to get, easy to store, but I always like having a little bit of this in the ramen. I love adding sesame seeds to the top. I think it looks really nice and I love the texture of them. These are French fried onions. If you're making green bean casserole pretty often, this might be something you already have in your pantry, but it's always good for ramen. Toasted sesame oil. This is a huge flavor boost. This is great. I actually add this to the bowl before serving, which I'll show you later. And then Sriracha. I love hot sauce. You can use any kind you have available or is your favorite, but I always recommend Sriracha. It's got a little bit of garlic and some nice kind of Asian flavors in the chili pepper. The last really nice topping I like to add is some kind of good protein besides just an egg. I have here a chicken thigh that I marinated in soy sauce, some mirin, and a little bit of black pepper. So a very simple thing to make, but it's just popped in the air fryer for the recommended amount of time, and that is good to go. I'm going to chop it up and throw it in the top of the bowl. And of course, dark meat has a lot more fat, therefore more flavor than a chicken breast, but of course you can use whatever you want. I'm going to cut this up in a little bit more bite-sized pieces for my topping. So all of my ingredients are chopped, they're ready to go once the soup is done. The soup over here has been simmering on low for a little bit, so the flavors are concentrating and it's going to be really good. But as you can see, that's the only cooking vessel besides the air fryer that I've used this entire time. Now, I don't want to have to get another pot to boil water. I'm going to use the Rapid Ramen Cooker to put the ramen noodles in. It's really easy to use. I'm going to just take out the ramen, throw everything in there. And as you can see, it's got a nice square shape to accommodate the size of the ramen block itself. And I'm going to add a cup of water. There is a fill line, so you don't need a measuring cup. I just have it so it's easier to pour. I'm going to pop this into the microwave now. So now I'm going to pop the Rapid Ramen Cooker into the microwave, and it is going to just take about 2 minutes because it's actually going to finish cooking in the ramen a little bit more since it's going to be so hot and fresh and ready to go. So, like I said, just 2 minutes and then it will be done. All right, the ramen just beeped. I'm going to grab it from the microwave. And I don't know if you can tell here, but there is a ton of steam popping up, but these stay cool handles are just fine. You can see right there, it's going to be sitting in a little bit of the water still. It doesn't absorb all of it. This is for if you want to make soup. I'm going to drain it because I have my own. Okay, now this is my favorite part, the assembly. I'm going to take the ramen prepared from the Rapid Ramen Cooker, and you can see it's a block. I'm going to add just a little bit of the toasted sesame oil to the noodles themselves. This is really potent in a good way. It's got tons of flavor, and I just really like the way it tastes. I'll give these noodles a little bit of a stir. I can smell the sesame oil already. It's very fragrant. Now, I'm going to pour the soup over it. Here's what it looks like. Here we go. Beautiful color. Now just more assembly. I'm going to throw some of these carrots on there. I'm going to grab the chicken thigh. the best thing is you can pretty much use anything at your disposal for topping your ramen. Every flavor combination is acceptable. I've done so many things. Now here is the soft-boiled egg. Hopefully it is runny. Feels like it is. Oh, that's good. I made this just a couple days ago. Now some green onions. Some sesame seeds. Some French fried onions. It's going to give it a little bit of a crunch. Don't worry, it gets a little soggy, but it's still very good. And now I'm going to grab my Sriracha because I love spice. You don't have to add this. And there you have it. A wonderful bowl of ramen. You could go to the restaurant, but you could also make your own with the Rapid Ramen Cooker. So I definitely recommend getting one of these. So like I said before, ramen's one of my favorite foods in the world. You can do so much with it. I don't think there's a wrong way to make it. You can add whatever stuff you want and be creative, but it's also really, really cheap. And I had pretty much all this stuff just lying around the house. So whenever you feel like making ramen, you can. Make sure you use the Rapid Ramen Cooker. I'm a big fan. This is my one I've been using for years now. Let me give this a little taste. It's really good. I've never made the same ramen twice. They always taste different to me. I always put different stuff in it, but I love them all. So, thanks for watching. Do you have other ideas you'd like to see in your ramen? Leave a comment. If you have better cooking tips that I maybe don't know about, please feel free to share. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff for here on YouTube. And see you next time.